The 8 hidden minerals that transform soil into a harvest machine. No fertilizer can replace these. If you've ever wondered why your garden sometimes looks great at the start of the season but seems to run out of power halfway through, trust me, you're not alone. Many gardeners pour time, effort, compost, and store-bought fertilizer into their soil and still end up with plants that struggle, produce small fruit, or tire early. We get enthusiastic growth at first, but the harvest doesn't match the promise. The reason is simple. Most commercial fertilizers only provide 3 plant nutrients: nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, but plants need 17 essential nutrients to reach their full potential. When even one supporting mineral is missing, growth slows, flavor fades, plants weaken, and disease moves in. This is why some gardens seem to wake up over the years and start producing abundantly, while others always feel like a fight. The secret isn't just fertilizer, it's mineral-rich soil that restores the living foundation plants depend on. Today, I want to share the 8 hidden minerals I've learned to rely on, minerals that most gardeners never think to use, yet they can transform your soil faster than anything else. Let's dig in. Biochar, the foundation for living soil. Biochar is one of the most powerful soil amendments on Earth, not because it adds nutrients, but because it changes the physical structure of the soil in a way nothing else does. Biochar is charred organic matter, burned in low oxygen so it becomes almost pure carbon filled with microscopic pores. These pores act like tiny homes for beneficial soil microbes. When your soil has more living microbial activity, everything else improves: nutrient availability, water retention, plant resilience, root development, and even pest resistance. But, the magic of biochar is its permanence. It doesn't break down. You add it once, and it stays in your soil for decades. I always charge my biochar before applying it, by mixing it with compost or compost tea for about a week. Adding raw biochar directly can temporarily soak up nutrients. Charging it makes sure it gives more than it takes. Once you add biochar to your soil, the change is unmistakable: lighter, darker, richer, and alive. Gypsum, the clay breaker. If your soil is heavy, sticky, and slow to drain, gypsum is your best friend. I learned this one the hard way, gardening in soils that turned into rock-hard clods every dry season. Gypsum, or calcium sulfate, doesn't just sit in the soil, it improves the structure. Calcium in gypsum loosens compacted clay by separating soil particles, creating open channels for air and roots. This means better drainage, deeper rooting, and much stronger plants. And unlike lime, gypsum doesn't raise soil pH, so it's safe even in alkaline regions. After applying gypsum, I noticed something subtle but important. My soil became easier to work, roots grew straighter and deeper, and the garden held moisture better during long dry spells. More root space means more access to water and nutrients, and that leads to bigger, healthier harvests. Green sand, the ocean's mineral memory. Green sand comes from ancient seabeds and carries a slow-release supply of trace minerals that stimulate long-term soil fertility. If you've ever had leaves look pale and weak even when fertilizer is present, your soil was probably missing trace minerals. Green sand, the ocean's mineral memory. Green sand comes from ancient seabeds and carries a slow-release supply of trace minerals that stimulate long-term soil fertility. If you've ever had leaves look pale and weak even when fertilizer is present, your soil was probably missing trace minerals. Green sand improves the deep green color of leaves, strengthens plant cell structure, and enhances fruit flavor. It's subtle, but, the difference really shows in the flavor of tomatoes, the fragrance of herbs, and the color of greens. This is not a fast boost. It's a soil builder. Just apply it once every couple of seasons and your soil becomes more balanced, more nourishing, and more complete. Azomite, replacing what harvests remove. Every harvest takes away minerals. Over time, even the most naturally rich soils become depleted. Azomite is volcanic rock dust containing over 70 trace minerals. It fills in those invisible nutritional gaps that keep plants from reaching their full size, flavor, and density. I first noticed the effect in fruiting crops. Tomatoes were firmer, peppers were brighter, and squash stored longer without soft spots. When the plant gets everything it needs, not just NPK, it doesn't just grow, it thrives. One small handful per square meter is all it takes. This is a long-view investment in deep fertility. Basalt rock dust is high in silica, a mineral most gardeners honestly tend to overlook. Silica strengthens plant cell walls, making them more drought-tolerant, heat-resistant, and naturally protected against pests and diseases. You know those thick, glossy, sturdy leaves that almost feel rubbery? Well, that's silica in action. In hot climates or windy gardens, plants treated with basalt actually remain upright and lush when others wilt or break. It's especially powerful in leafy greens and fruiting vines like cucumbers and melons. This is resilience you can see. Gardeners who rely on compost and manure alone often end up with soil that becomes gradually more acidic. Dolomite supplies both calcium and magnesium while raising soil pH. Calcium supports strong cell walls, and magnesium is at the core of chlorophyll itself. When I add dolomite in acidic beds, everything just brightens, leaves darken, stems strengthen, and root systems really expand. But, dolomite isn't for everyone. Only use it if your soil is actually acidic. A simple pH test takes the guesswork out. Used correctly, dolomite resets the soil to balance and power. Langbeinite, yeah, it's known as the ripening mineral. It combines potassium, magnesium and sulfur, all essential for fruit development, sweetness and long storage life. This mineral changes the quality of the harvest, not just the size. If you grow tomatoes, peppers, pumpkins, melons, potatoes or onions, this one is really game-changing. I learned to apply langbeinite right when plants begin to flower and again as fruit starts to set. The difference is remarkable. Firmer fruit, richer color, deeper sweetness and better shelf life. This is the mineral that turns a good harvest into a proud one. Worm castings, the living bridge. You see, if minerals are the building materials of healthy soil, then worm castings are the diligent workers. They introduce living microorganisms that make minerals available to plants. Without these microbes, minerals just lock up in the soil and go unused. Worm castings are gentle, steady, and always safe. They help plants access nutrients right when they need them. Plus, they prevent disease before it even starts, and they build soil that grows better every single year. Personally, I top dress with castings every season, especially around seedlings. Let me tell you, the difference in early growth is like night and day. You don't need to use everything at once. Great soil building is a journey, not a rush. Start with what your garden is missing. If the soil is heavy, try biochar and gypsum. If growth looks pale or slow, go for green sand and azomite. If your plants wilt in the heat, basalt rock dust can help. If soil is too acidic, use dolomite. If your fruit lacks sweetness, reach for langbeinite. And always, absolutely always, use worm castings. What matters is consistency. Soil improves layer by layer, season by season. When you work with these minerals, your soil starts to regenerate itself. You'll see richer color, stronger stems, deeper roots and harvests that really reflect the true potential of your land. This is gardening the way nature intended, not forcing growth, but supporting life. If this guide opened your eyes to what your soil might be missing, share it with another gardener. Soil knowledge spreads one gardener at a time, and together we build abundance. So, subscribe to Soil Power on YouTube, share this article with your gardening community. Let's keep rebuilding the soil, one garden at a time. Your soil can do more, your garden can give more, and you can grow differently, starting now. See you in the next video.